The best piece of advice I have for someone trying to succeed in the film industry or any creative space is if you're doing what everyone else is doing, you're doing it wrong.
One of the best to ever do it.
What is freedom? I think I stole this from Bob Dylan, but maybe I stole this from Woody Guthrie. Freedom for me is waking up in the morning and going to sleep at night, and in between doing exactly what I want to do. What's the secret to happiness? The secret to happiness is finding something you love and then doing that for the rest of your life.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Site Review Tuesday. I'm Robert with Zenfolio Customer Success, and I want to say thank you for joining me. Now, here in a minute, we're going to get to reviewing one of your websites, and I do want to point out that while this has been pre-recorded, I'm hanging out in the chat, interacting with you guys live and answering your questions. Now, if you're interested in having your website reviewed, there's a link in the description below this video where you can submit your site. And in addition to getting a site review, I also offer a one-on-one session to each photographer who has had a site review done to help them answer any questions or assist in making any changes that they may want to make. Now, don't forget, we also live stream every Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, so I hope to see you there. Let's get into the site review.
Happy Tuesday! Thank you for joining us once again for another Zenfolio live site review for Site Review Tuesday. I'm Katie from Zenfolio Customer Support, bringing you yet another review. As you may know, this review has been pre-recorded, but we'll be hanging out with you guys in chat to get your feedback as we go along, looking over this user's site. So today we're going to be looking at tolitsweddings.com. That's tolits-weddings.com, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So this is going to be a user who has a couple site reviews with us. One Zenfolio site dedicated specifically to his work with weddings, and another for other genres of photography that Vedran shoots and presents to his clients. So today we're going to be looking at his wedding site, and so let's go ahead and get started here on the home page. So happy 2020 to everyone. Looking here at Vedran's homepage for tolitsweddings.com, we've got some really nice images here in the homepage grid for his wedding site. There are a good number of images, but I think this grid doesn't stretch too much the limits of what ultimately is hurtful when you have too many images on a page. So what you want to avoid is visitors having to scroll way too far down and then have a hard time getting back up to specifically the site menu so that they're able to navigate around your site. So some really nice images here on the home page grid. It might be a good idea to go in Customize View and test out some of the built-in themes. So it looks like this is a little bit of an older theme. It's got this kind of textured background. Makes the site look a little bit dated with these kinds of line elements and these colors that don't necessarily complement one another, with this darker blue and then this forest green here in the display name. So just something to consider, maybe experimenting with some of the themes that make it really quick and easy for you to give your site a little facelift with fonts and colors used on the site. So we've got some really great consistency here with the overlay information as far as the titles for each of these galleries. So that consistency is very helpful. I also love that we're not working with any strange watermarks here popping up on the homepage images. But in case you're wondering, this kind of configuration where you have a homepage grid that leads to galleries is something that lots of Zenfolio users have discovered. So when you're using the homepage grid layout, you have the option of linking your homepage grid to a group, which will show the cover thumbnails for your groups. Then your visitors can click on each of the homepage grid images to be taken to the gallery rather than it being a gallery of static images, for instance. So see this gallery pop up right away, and it's coming up through the portfolio group, which has this wedding gallery attached. So very effective configuration for navigation on that home page, and a nice way of featuring some of the client work for these wedding galleries. So let's have a look here at the portfolio site menu item. So it looks like we're seeing a repetition here of lots of the same information that's included on the home page. It's not a deal breaker, but it could be a slightly more effective strategy to, instead of sending portfolio to a collection of client galleries, or more accurately, a group of client galleries, maybe using the portfolio site menu to lead to a gallery that you create that has some of the best images from these many client galleries. That way, you immediately put your best images front and center for visitors to view in the instance that they are maybe looking for a wedding photographer. So finding some good images from different times of the shoot, if it's pre-wedding or ceremony or reception, finding some great examples from many different galleries and putting those in a single gallery could be an effective way of updating your portfolio on your site. Then you can use this portfolio site menu item to lead to the newly created gallery. So, unfortunately, I don't speak Croatian, but after digging into this site a little bit, looks like this is a client galleries group. So here we're seeing even fewer galleries. If this is how you are delivering this info to your clients, it's perfectly fine just to lead straight into a client galleries site menu item, but you might also consider just sending gallery invites to your clients, or at least finding ways to optimize this page. So getting rid of unnecessary elements like the modified and created dates, guest book entries, number of galleries. These kinds of small elements can be a little distracting, and when they're not utilized, like seeing that there are no guest book entries, it could be something that a visitor sees and goes, well, I don't know, this person's really serious. So obviously the images would speak differently. There are some great photographs in each one of these galleries. But finding a little bit of consistency there and being intentional with what is shown and not shown to clients is definitely a good rule of thumb for optimizing your Zenfolio site. So let's go on here to the blog. And I really love this blog layout. It's one of my favorite blog layouts that you have as an option on Zenfolio. It's a great way of featuring a good wide view of an image, and you get these helpful overlays to give a visitor more info before they head straight into the blog post. I see keywords are displayed. That's great for your SEO. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and dig into one of these blog posts and see how Vedran is using the blog. So it looks like we've got a regularly updated blog here, and that's awesome. You really, if you're going to show your dates in your blog posts, better to keep up with that blog as much as possible. I also like how there's a good block of text here that is not so much text that you don't see that there are images involved in the post, but then some really lovely images laid out here in the blog post. And certainly a lot of images in the blog post, but if you're wanting to share the story of your photographs, this is a good way of putting a little life in the story, adding some information about the event, and then leading straight into the images. So some really great images here. Looks like more keywords being used here on the post. Again, great for SEO. So let's go on here to the top and go back to the blog. And we can see from the archive here that Vedran's really great about updating his blog. So definitely a way to let your visitors know, hey, I'm still shooting, I'm still doing work. So let's go on here to the FAQ. And I really loved how this FAQ has been implemented. So what's been done here is that the FAQ leads to a URL, which is one of the blog posts in Vedran's blog that acts as evergreen content. So it's a blog post that's always going to be relevant. So rather than having to start from scratch, create a custom page, just link straight to that particular blog post. And I really love how this has been laid out with text broken up by images, more text, another beautiful image. So this is definitely a great way of utilizing both the blog feature and picking up those blog URLs to link to site menu items that are always going to be relevant. So what we're looking at here in this site menu item is the About page for Vedran's site. And again, another evergreen blog post that has been linked to the site menu. So if that's not your cup of tea and you don't want things like recent posts, keywords, archives being displayed, you do have the option with your blog post to copy the source code and create a new custom page, paste in that source code, and have that same content without things like the breadcrumbs, the date, and so on. So something to consider if that's not what you want, but if you do want to be able to have things like these linkable keywords automatically built in, then using that evergreen content on the blog is a great way of doing that. So, nice about image, as you guys have seen while we've been going through the site, we've got some good social media links and some hyperlinked text. I love that Vedran is featuring his equipment list and what you can expect that he'd be bringing to a shoot. So I always do like to see that info. So in this case, the contact page, which you'll see, is the first page on the site where we've actually seen where Vedran is located. So if you're in Croatia, you might think about contacting Vedran to shoot your wedding, but it might be a good idea, say, closer to the home page or even in a portfolio page. On the home page, you have the option of using a welcome message, and on something like a portfolio page, which is linked to a group or gallery, you have the option of using the caption to include location information. Not only is it really good for your SEO, so optimizing search engines to lead to your site before other sites when someone, say, goes to Google and says, wedding photographer Croatia, that information is going to be referenced a little more quickly and more accurately by search engines if that information is included on a home page. So there are a couple options for this, either using a welcome message or even using something like a site footer that might include your contact info at the bottom of the page. Would be a way of including that information a little bit more, a little bit sooner for clients or visitors who you want to be led to your site. So definitely something to consider. But with Vedran's site, we've got some really lovely galleries here that we can peruse. So here on the home page, one of these galleries, I really love this location. I love what's happening with some of the masking and using elements of the environment to capture this moment in this beautiful wedding. But another thing that you might consider, since these icons are pretty small, you might test out some different thumbnail options for the gallery. You do have the option of overlaying this information. So rather than having these white bars on the bottoms of the thumbnails, those social media icons can hover over the image itself. Not for everybody, but something to consider. It also wouldn't be quite as distracting if, for instance, the theme was adjusted so that these thumbnails didn't have the border around them, and maybe on a white background, this wouldn't be so distracting. But it may also be worthwhile to test out whether or not these breadcrumbs are useful for you. Little details like that can be really important in the presentation of your site. Another thing that might be useful here, say on the portfolio, would be maybe using this spotlight content to have a slideshow of different images if you're not going to go through and create a new gallery for the portfolio. So just as a little bit of a rundown, looking at the home page. Great images. Again, going in and tinkering it with the theme, I think, might really help this home page. Also, testing out different ways of displaying thumbnails. So, looks like we've got a dynamic thumbnail grid here. That's something that you can also use on gallery and group pages for your thumbnails. so that the images can be displayed a little bit larger if you've got a gallery that doesn't have so many images. And just considering those kinds of things when it comes to site updates and making your site look clean. Again, this client galleries page, just getting rid of going into your customized view and getting rid of elements that aren't serving you, like modified and created dates, guestbook entries. And again, looking at this theme, not sure if these colors are intentional or not. Maybe finding a color palette that works to complement the images. Looking here at the blog, one of my favorite pages on this site. It's simple, it's straightforward, and again, looking at these blog entries, really nice presentation of both text as a way of telling stories and offering information about shoots to clients and finding ways of featuring images from the shoots. I would love to know what you guys think of in chat, seeing just how far I've got to go to get all the way down this post. Would it be better just to offer the entire client gallery to the client and maybe cull some of these images for the blog post itself? I'd love to know what you guys think. A bunch of people on Facebook think this is a great post, so pros and cons, let's hear it. I'd love to know your thoughts. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this review. I am happy to bring it to you, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Hey, thank you guys so much for watching that site review. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure that you click that subscribe button and hit the little bell icon so you get notified when we post videos and when we go live. Now, if you're interested in having your site reviewed, there's a link in the description below this video where you can submit your website for that. And in addition to getting a site review, you're also going to get a link where you can schedule a session with me. We're going to go over your website, go over the review. I'll answer any questions that you have and help you make any changes that you're interested in making. So the link to sign up for that is in the description below this video. Now, don't forget Zenfolio Live coming up this Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope to see you guys there. Until then, I hope you have a great week.